In this video, let's build AI Chrome extension that summarize any article you are reading automatically the moment you click the extension. So let me show you the demo. So basically, this is the article from the technologyreview.com. And the title is OpenAI is throwing everything into building a fully automated researcher, right? So in here, I have my extension. That's what we are going to build, right? Article summarize. So when I click that, as you can see, it's basically will summarize these articles, right? Here is a 3-sentence summary of the articles. OpenAI is refocusing its effort on building an AI researchers and etc. And also we can just copy the summary and go to any text editor you want and just paste that, right? We are using Vite with React for the extension UI and Next.js for the backend. For the AI itself, we are using Open Router, which means we can plug in any model we want, Cloud, GPT, Gemini, all with one API key. So let's get started. I create the extension folder, and inside that I create two folders, front end and back end. So let's just hit enter. As you can see, we have front end and back end. So now I'm going to set it to the front end so we can working with the Vite, right? I'm going to open that into the Visual Studio Code. In this folder, I'm running npm create vite at lattice.slash, which is on the current folder, and I'm using template React TypeScript. I'm going to say no. Here we go. For the styling, I like to using Tailwind CSS. So let's just install this Tailwind CSS package, copy and paste that. And also next, we need to update the Vite config. We need to adding this Tailwind CSS, right, on the Vite config. Just put that in here. And also we are going to import Tailwind CSS on the index.css, right? This one right here. And then what the next thing? We done. But of course, we have to import this Tailwind CSS like this, and we done. pm run dev, just try to see the UI on the browser. Here we go, right? That's the default UI. I'm going to create 3 state in here, summary and status and copy value, right? Just import the use state, and I'm going to create the status type in here. I just want to copy and paste that. So the status is extracting and summarize, done, and error. First, I'm going to create the header. I'm going to paste that in here. As you can see, it's just really simple. This header right here have this text article summarize with the status right here. If the status extracting, it's reading. If the status summarizing, it's summarizing. If the status done, it just show this done text with text green. So let's take a look. This one right here, right? Now it's reading by default. I also want to copy and paste the body right here. As you can see, this is the body that have this condition. If the status is summarizing and the summary doesn't have any value, it's basically will show this loading, right? It's just dot basically. And also if summary have a value, just render the summary. If error, using this try again button, right? This is the function. So I'm gonna copy that function name and just create empty function for now. Handle retry set equals to empty function, just like this. So now let's try to change the status to, for example, summarizing. I'm gonna copy and paste the value, and now as you can see, we have this summarizing and this loading right here. Under the body, I'm gonna paste this footer right here, right, with the handle copy function. Const handle copy set equals to an arrow function. And we can just take a look at the UI of the copy summary. Here we go. Now we need to create the manifest.json file. I'm going to create that on the public here. Manifest.json file like this. Alright, so as you can see, I'm using manifest version 3. This is the latest version. The name of this manifest is article summarizer. The version, the action. So the action is basically the UI that appears when the extension icon is clicked. The permission I'm using the active tab. Active tab, right, this basically will allow access to the currently active tab and also the tab as well. The host permission is all URLs. The content script is matched with all URLs as well. And also the JS is basically content.js. So we're going to create this content.js file on the public right here. So let's create that content.js right here. I'm going to paste this code in here. It's basically running the chrome.runtime.onMessage.addListener. And as you can see, it's basically grab the article, right? Article class and main, and basically all the body as well, and return that right here. So what it does is basically we listen for messages and extract text from the current web page. So now we're done. Basically, I'm going to close this and I'm going to say npm run build Anyway, we get an error because we have some state that never used. So I think let's try to go back in here, and what we have to do is, for now, I think I just want to remove that. So let's try to running that again, npm run build. Hopefully it's success. Great. So now we have this folder, and we can use this as a Chrome extension. So let's go to where is the Chrome extension in here? We can go to chrome://extension and just check this developer mode, load unpackage. And in here, I'm going to select the front end and then this folder. So I'm going to click select, and here we go. Now we have this article summarizer, and right here we have that extension. So if I click that, as you can see, this is the UI look like, right? Great, all the UI is done. Now let's working with the backend folder. I'm going to cd to the backend folder, and inside in here, I just want to open that in VS Code. In here, I'm going to run npx create next app add latest and on the current folder. So I'm going to run / in here. And then I'm going to use, anyway, this is just for backend stuff. So we don't need Tailwind CSS, of course. So I'm going to use custom settings, TypeScript. I'm going to say yes, yes lane, React compiler, no, Tailwind CSS, no, source directory, no, app router, of course, yes, import alias, I'm going to say no. And this one right here, what is this? Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Now we can just go to app, and then in here, I'm going to create API folder /summarize/road.ts file. Here we go. Also, I'm going to create lib folder on the root lib/ai.ts. Now we need to install the AI and also the AI SDK/OpenAI. So I'm going to hit enter. On the ai.ts file, I'm going to paste this code in here. This basically just export a variable open router and running this create OpenAI, right? Paste the base URL and also the API key. This basically comes from the open router API key. And this is basically the summarize model. So anyway, you can just change or swap any model you want in here. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So great, we have the open router and we have the summarize model. So now let's get the open router API key. Go to openrouter.ai. You can just log in, and here I'm going to click create, give any name you want. I'm going to say summarize, click create. And now we have this API key. I'm going to copy that, right? Go to the env.local. If you don't yet have that, you can create the file on the root.env.local. And then in here, you can just paste that. Of course, you have to put this value into the key open router API key like this. Great. And also you need to create another environment variable, which is the open router base URL, which is https://openrouter.ai/api/version1. Now it should be works. Let's go to the road.ts. I'm going to using Edge runtime for faster streaming. And in here, I'm going to create a post function basically. First, we need to get the article text that's sent from the browser extension, right? So we can grab that using this await request.json. And now we have this text. And of course, you can just console log the text. So you can just make sure what the value. Now we need to open the front end project, which is the Vite, right? So I'm going to create function called summarize. And then I'm going to run this function on the first render, which is I'm going to running that on the use effect like this, and just running that function like that, and just make sure I put empty array like this. I'm going to run try and catch in the summarize function. And first, I just want to make sure that I'm running set status to extract thing. But we get this error. The reason is because the status here, we don't yet have the set status. So now let's create also the set summary. In here, I'm going to get the current tab that active. So I running cons, grab the tab, wait for chrome.tabs. As you can see, we have this error. The reason is because we have to put this chrome into something like, I believe, tsconfig. So in here, we can put the types in here, right? So let's just put the comma and then paste the chrome. So now hopefully we don't see any error, but we still get the error. I'm not sure. The reason why we still get this Chrome error because we not yet install the type/Chrome package. So let's try to install that. Now the error is gone. Super nice. After we get the current type, now what we have to do is we need to send the message, right? And type is extract text. Next thing is we need to make sure the status is should be summarizing. And then in here, I'm going to create a response and we running the await into the fetch. right? We're going to fetch into the backend right here because our Next.js running on localhost 3000. So we can put like http://localhost 3000/API/summarize. And in here, we can put an object. We can specify the method, the header, and the body as well. So I'm going to copy and paste. As you can see, the method is post request. The header is content type application JSON, and the body is text right here, come from the response.text. And the next thing, I'm going to run this reader, right? This basically create this reader set equals to response.body get reader. What this code does is basically will read data little by little from a stream and updates your UI in real time. Just that's it, right? So now we need to make sure the set status it should be done. And then if something wrong happened, I just want to set the status into error, just like this. For the handle retry, first I'm going to run the set summary back to empty string, set status extracting, and summarize, running the summarize again. And also for the handle copy function, I'm going to running this await for navigator.clipboard.write text. Of course, because we're running await in here, this function it should be a async function like this. All right, so our front end is basically done. So we can open the terminal and we can run npm run build to update the this folder in here, right? So just make sure everything is clear. As you can see, it's done and successful. So now let's go back to the backend folder. Remember, on the front end, we already make a post request and also we already send the text, right? But I just forget running that on use effect, I believe, because I tried, it's not working. As you can see, this is the front end. On the use effect, I just put the summarize like this, but I'm not running. So I have to running that. So after we make a change, now we can run npm run build like this. Hopefully everything is successful. Great. So now let's send this text here to the AI model. So I just want to copy and paste this code in here. As you can see, this basically will send the text to the AI model and stream the response back. The stream text, this one right here, is basically will returns the response word by word instead of waiting for the full response. So here for the model, I'm going to run open router and then paste the model, right? The summarize model in here. And then the system is you are a concise article summarizer. Give an article text written a clear and accurate summary in 3 until 5 sentences. As you can see, this basically stream the AI response back to the extension. The course header is required because the extension has a different origin than this server. So we're running the return.result.to text stream response and the header as well. So now let's just try it. Here I just opened the technologyreview.com articles. OpenAI is throwing everything into building a fully automated researcher. So let's try to click this extension, click that, and now it's basically will summarize the article. Let's try to another website like dev.to in here, and I'm going to just open random article like this one right here, building a weather station using an old Raspberry Pi. So now let's try to click this extension, click that, and it's basically will summarize it. Let's see, hopefully it works. As you can see, it works. The author built a home weather station using an old Raspberry Pi 2 and blah blah blah, right? So I think this application is done, and hopefully guys you can learn something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you on another video.